In this lesson, we'll add a few new pieces to our sword in ZBrush. So taking a look at our sword here at this point, I think the pieces that we have look pretty good, but looking at how this handle connects up with the guard on the hilt, you can see that there is a lot of space here. This blade is really, really wide, and then we have a very narrow handle. So I want to add a little bit of bulk under here and maybe use this to mirror some of the pieces up here, maybe down here, and kind of just tie everything together. So one thing that we could do would be to take this back out into Cinema 4D and add additional geometry and bring it back in, or we can just add that geometry here in ZBrush. So one of the ways we can do this is just to go to Append, and I want to append a Z-sphere. We'll go to the actual Z-sphere subtool, and from the side view, I'm just going to go ahead and move it up kind of right under the handle, and we can go ahead and just scale this down here. And so kind of right at that intersection, and I want to create kind of a bony piece here that's going to come down from this guard into the grip there. All right, so then I'll go ahead and turn the side, go back to draw, and I want to add another one in the middle. Okay, and this one I'll go ahead and kind of pull out, and let's just scale it up a little. And then I want to do the same thing down here on the bottom. So we'll add a Z-sphere there, and I want to move it, snapped all the way down there, so I'll go ahead and move it up, and I just want it to kind of come into the side of the grip there. So I just want a shape that's something like that, and we can check what that geometry will look like just by hitting A to get our adaptive skin. Now here in ZBrush 4, this is using the new skinning. So if you go down to adaptive skin and turn off preview, you can see that if we turn on classic skinning, that's going to give you what you might be used to a little bit more. But I'm going to go ahead and turn this off to get our a little bit more of a clean, nice skin for us. Okay, so once we've got this drawn out, I'm just going to make this very simple and leave it as is. We can go ahead and make an adaptive skin from that. So we'll make adaptive skin. Okay, now by hitting A, we can go back to our Z-spheres. If we want to now append the new skin, we'll go to Append, and here we have the actual geometry, and then here we have our Z-spheres. So I'm going to take those Z-spheres, which we used to create this skin, which is now appended, so we don't need these anymore, but I'm going to actually just move them over to create the other side. So we'll take this and just create the almost kind of the mirror image of it over on this side, and we may need to scale everything down just a little bit, but I want to get another piece over here on this side. Okay, and so can you do an adaptive skin here? So we'll do the same thing here. Go ahead and you can preview that, and then you can make an adaptive skin. Okay, let's go ahead now and append our new skin, if I can get that selected. Okay, so now we have both of these, and these are both going to be kind of a bony piece. So I'm going to turn off the visibility on this, and then we'll go to this geometry here, and let's turn on everything else. So now I'm going to go ahead and with this selected, let's get our move, go to draw, get our move brush, and I'll just do some shaping here, and I want to use symmetry. So we'll go to transform, and let's activate our symmetry, and it's going to be in the X. So now I'm going to take this and just kind of pull this in. So what I want to do is just create kind of a bony piece that's coming down and connecting this up. And so this will help to kind of reinforce some of the other materials that we have here, this bone up at the top and then at the bottom of the grip, that sort of bony look. Okay, go ahead and subdivide that, make sure that it's intersecting in there. Okay, we can start to thin that out a little. We subdivide again. Okay, and now we can come in here and just start to kind of pull this down and make it a little bit more irregular. Okay, we can get our standard brush and we unmask that. We can kind of start to push some of this in, kind of smooth it out, and here we can start to make these lines coming in on this bone. Okay, and kind of pull that out and just make kind of a ridge there. And then we can really just give it the same treatment that we gave the bone at the bottom as far as the color and the sculpting go, and just kind of pushing that in, using your brush to create some seams there, using using noise to create a little bit of variation in there. And so you just want to go through and do that same thing, just so that it matches up. This matches up with this piece, and then this piece as well. Okay, and then you want to do the same thing over here on the other piece. Now I want to make one more piece, kind of a red piece coming in here and kind of almost looking like drips coming down. Okay, so to start with, I'll use the Z-spheres that we have. I'll go ahead and move this one, and actually I'm going to kind of move this one over a bit to one side, and we'll start it kind of right in there. And then I just want to kind of follow along with the shape. I'll go ahead and scale this down a bit and move it over. Okay, and so I'm going to have kind of one on each side, so I'll just continue to add some Z-spheres here. Okay, kind of move that down. And I want to kind of come all the way out here, so I'm just actually going to move this all the way out, and then go back to draw and click and add a new Z-sphere there in the center, rather than just pulling a new one out. Okay, and we want this to kind of go around our bony piece there. Okay, we'll do the same thing up here. Add a new one, and kind of move it out here a bit. Okay, so something like that. Kind of move these out a little. Let's scale this one down a bit. So just kind of following along with that shape. Okay, let's do one more over here. And we'll kind of pull that up. And you can preview what that looks like at this point. You can see it's got some facets there because of the skinning that we're using. If you want to try your different skinning, go ahead and use classic skinning. You can get that, but you can see we get a little bit of a twist here, so you might need to turn around, spin some of those Z-spheres. Now I want to start bringing down some pieces from here, so I'm going to go ahead and start connecting in the middle some Z-spheres. So starting to bring this down, take it up against the guard, or the grip, and go ahead and take that down, and just create these almost like drip or plant-like shapes. And do the same thing up here. Okay, bring this down. This can come in. I really want to get kind of a carved drip sort of shape, or a vine kind of shape coming down. Okay, so you can come down here and then take this one, kind of move it over, make it kind of start to go around the portion of the grip there. Kind of move these around. Okay, and so you want to get something that looks like that. And then once you get in there and get those drips drawn out, the next thing you want to do is go ahead and again make an adaptive skin, just like we did with these other pieces. And then I would just make that a red and kind of add a little bit of sharpness to it. So use kind of the same technique we used on the guard as far as using the polish brushes, to kind of add a little bit of sharpness to that, maybe creating some edges here and there. And then you can go ahead and mirror that over to the other side, and we can use our subtool master to do that. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to match these two bony pieces up with the look of these. Okay, so just using the same techniques we used for this, just use on this piece and this piece. Okay, and then on this one I would make it just kind of a red, and then use the same technique on this that we used on the guard. Okay, so making that a little bit more sharp on some of the edges, less organic maybe, make it look a little bit more carved. Okay, so let's finish up those pieces using those same techniques, and then we'll come in the next lesson and take a look at creating and updating UVs. So we'll go ahead and do that next.